guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be making an Easter Bunny bouquet. So this is a full tutorial on how to make the Easter Bunny head and these little Easter eggs. We will then be showing you exactly how to assemble and all the materials you need to do this. So keep watching if you want to make your own little Easter Bunny bouquet. Okay guys, to make the bunny we're going to need the yarn color of your choice, a crochet hook, a stitch marker if you use them, a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors. We are also going to be needing a pair of safety eyes and the backings for the safety eyes and some stuffing. And finally, we're going to need a little bit of black yarn for the embroidery of the face. Okay, so let's get started. First, we're going to be needing to do a magic ring, and then we will do 8 single crochet inside of that magic ring. 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we are going to be making the bunny head first, and then we will do the ears. So pull your magic ring nice and tight. We will tie it off at the end later to make it even more tighter. We will tie it off even tighter at the next step. So let's do this next step first. So for round 2 we are going to be increasing in every stitch around. So let's do 1 single crochet, put our stitch marker in because I like to mark the first stitch of every round. Now because this is an increase, we are going to be needing to go back into that same stitch and do another single crochet, and that makes our increase. Now going to the next stitch, and we are going to be putting 2 single crochet into that stitch for an increase, and we're going to be continuing this around. So putting 2 single crochet in every stitch, and that will give us 16 stitches at the end. There we go. So now we will have 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So now what I do, I like to tighten this so that there's no gap. So pull as hard as you can. Now if you're using acrylic yarn, mostly it won't snap. So you can generally pull really tight to get that ring, that hole closed as much as you can. Now don't fret if you can't get it super closed. So I like to tie it off just so that it doesn't continue to open. So I just basically do like a little knot, pull it closed, and you can see we do have a little bit of a gap still, but that's fine. So don't worry about it if yours has a little gap too. Okay, so let's go around to round 3. Now for this round we were doing a single crochet followed by an increase all the way around. So 1 single crochet, put in your stitch marker if you're using one, and the next stitch will be an increase. And the next stitch will be a single crochet and followed by an increase. Now we will repeat that pattern all the way around. So single crochet, next stitch will be an increase. Single crochet followed by an increase. If this is going too fast for you, feel free to pause the video at any time. Also, YouTube allows you to slow the video down, which is actually what I used to do when I would practice crocheting. So if you need to slow the video down, feel free to do that. So I'll be crocheting slowly for you. 1 single crochet, and the next one is an increase, one single crochet followed by an increase, one single crochet followed by an increase, and that concludes round 3. It should be looking something like this. So for the next round we are going to be doing 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So let's do the first single crochet, put our stitch marker in to mark the start of our round 1. Now we'll do 1 more single crochet in the next stitch. So now we have 2 single crochet. Now we need to do an increase in the next stitch. See? And now we will continue that around. So we've got 1 single crochet. In the next stitch we do another single crochet. And in the next stitch we'll do an increase. Just 2 single crochet in the same stitch. There we go. Now we will continue this pattern all the way around. 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, and an increase. Feel free to reach out in the comments if you do have any questions about any of this tutorial. If there's anything that doesn't make sense, I am always in the comment section monitoring, so I am more than happy to respond and help out if there's more clarification needed. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I will definitely respond to you. Okay, so 1 and then an increase. And that concludes round 4. Okay, for round 5 we're going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So, first stitch, add your stitch marker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. So we're now going to continue doing single crochets around for another 5 rounds. And that is now rows 5 to 10 completed. So moving on to the next round, round 11, we will be doing 2 single crochets and 1 decrease. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, put the stitch marker in. Now 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by the decrease. And again, continuing on the pattern, 1 single crochet in the first stitch, another single crochet in the next stitch, and then we will finish off with a decrease. Now continue this pattern around the entire round. So 2 single crochet in each stitch followed by a decrease. Now we will be starting round 12, which is 1 single crochet followed by a decrease, and continue that pattern all the way around this round. So first stitch is 1 single crochet, and in the next 2 stitches you will be doing your decrease and 1 single crochet followed by a decrease. Just remember to try and keep a tight tension if possible, or just to pull tightly your stitches after each stitch, just to prevent any holes from occurring in your work, as we are now entering, I guess, the final rounds where there are a lot more chances of stitches to get a little bit loose because of all the decreases. So if you can keep a nice tight tension, it will show less gaps in your work, and your bunny won't be, I guess the stuffing won't show up as much in the bunny when you finish. Okay, and that concludes round 12. So our next step is actually to add the safety eyes. They will be added between rows 6 and 7, but it's really up to you. So if you want to have your safety eyes at different levels, that's totally fine. For mine, I put my safety eyes between rows 6 and 7, and I had them approximately 6 stitches apart. Now make sure you secure your safety eye backings securely and tightly onto your eyes. You don't want them popping out. I still wouldn't recommend letting children under 3 play with anything with safety eyes in them, but as these are a bouquet with wire in them, they're probably already not suitable for children to play with, but still good practice to make sure the eyes are secure in your bunny. Okay, now is the time to start stuffing your bunny's head. So get some stuffing and make sure you make the head stuffed pretty firmly. You don't want to overstuff it so that it's hard to push the wire through as we're building a bouquet, but you also want it to be enough that it holds its shape. So feel free to put as much stuffing as you need to get that shape. Make sure that you are getting the stuffing into all the edges of the outside of the circle. You don't want any gaps or any funny shapes, especially as it is circle. It will show if there are dents and missing spots. As I put stuffing in, I generally will sort of shape the head just to keep an eye on how much stuffing there is and to make sure it is the correct shape. Okay, let's move on to round 13, where we will be decreasing in every stitch around for 8 stitches. And whoops, I've gone off the screen a little bit with my crochet, but I am just continuing my decreases at this point. And when you get to the end of your round, if you feel like you need to add a little bit more stuffing, feel free to do it at this point before you close up the bunny head. This is your last chance to put any stuffing in.
Okay, once that's completed, you'll just need to leave a yarn tail. So enough yarn that you'll be able to just close off the final stitches, and we just use our tapestry needle to do that. So shape your head a little bit if needed. Okay, so I'm just squishing in some more stuffing at this point, just using the end of my crochet hook just to get some last minute stuffing in. Sometimes at this point, as you squish your head around, you may feel some gaps, so good to stuff it now before it's too late. So thread your yarn through your tapestry needle. Now you're going to be going through the front loops of these remaining 8 stitches. And I'm off screen again, sorry about that. So go in through those front loops and then go into the front loops again, and then just keep doing that all the way around until you get back to the very first stitch, and then pull tightly, and that's going to close up that whole gap really nicely. What I will do is usually weave through, and I will just make a small knot somewhere in the right near the tail where I've just made that sort of last pull through. Make a little small knot and then just weave the ends through and then cut off. And that completes your bunny, well, the base of your bunny head. Now we will move on to the ears.
Okay, now we're going to crochet the bunny's ears, and we are going to make 2 of these. So start with a magic ring, and we are going to do 5 single crochet into that ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So close the ring. Okay, so for round 2, we're going to increase in every stitch. So we're going to be doing 5 increases, and that will give us 10 stitches. So on our first single crochet, we're going to put our stitch marker. Now go back into that same stitch to complete the increase, and in the next stitch we are also going to do increase, back through into the next stitch. We're also going to do another increase, and the next stitch, and increase again. So an increase is 2 single crochet into the same stitch, and then finally our last increase for the round. There we go. Now we should have 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So as always, pull on that end tail, get it as close as possible, and then make a little knot. This way the magic ring won't open again, like that. Okay, so for the next round we are going to be doing single crochets in each stitch around, and we're actually going to be doing this for the next 5 rounds. So you'll need to do single crochets in every stitch for the next 5 rounds, and that's going to give us the length of the bunny's ear. So that's 10 stitches around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we just completed that round of single crochets, and now we need to do that 4 more times. So, okay, now that we have finished our 5 rounds of single crochet, we can now cut the yarn, but what we want to do is make sure we have enough of that yarn to sew, as these will be sewn to the head of the bunny like that. So you need to make sure you leave enough yarn so that you can use that to sew. So depending on what yarn you have, you may need more or less. So I just cut about this much, maybe 20 centimeters. And there we go. So you need to make 2 of these. So they're going to be going like that. So once you have finished the other ear, come back and we will assemble. Okay, now that you have 2 ears, we can start to assemble our bunny. So first of all, you're going to want to stuff your ears, not too much, but just enough that they will hold their shape. We don't need to overstuff them to make them hard to attach. Okay, there we go. So now we have our 2 ears done and stuffed. So now you're going to position them, and it's really up to you where you want to position them. Just try to see what you like. Sometimes I know with bunnies they put them like right up the top, so you can do it like that, or you can do it slightly spaced. I like mine with a slight space, but it's really up to you how you want to position them. But when you do find out what position you like, make sure you can see, say if I position mine here, make sure you do the same thing on the other side. Otherwise you'll have it 1 ear here and 1 ear here. So just try and do your best to make it even, but it doesn't matter because not everything in life is perfect, and especially not nature. So let's start sewing. So you are going to need your tapestry needle. Okay, so a little hint that I know, to put the yarn through your tapestry needle easier, instead of trying to struggle like this, you can actually fold the yarn and then just squeeze it through like that, and that is a great way to make sure that it threads easily. Okay, so line it up. So I'm going to probably put mine about here. So at this point you can use something to pin the ear in place. What I usually use is just a knitting needle, and I will sometimes just push it through, just to get my pieces all in the right position so that it doesn't move around when I'm sewing. But for this I probably won't. I'm just going to hold it, and it's totally up to you what you want to do, but I'm just going to hold it in this one. So we're going to go in and come out the next stitch and pull, and that's going to be our starting point. So we're going to go in through the next stitch, in through that same stitch, and push through. So repeat that pattern all the way around. So I'm going to go in, back through, feel free to make adjustments as you go. If you need to move the placement slightly, you can as you are sewing. I tend to move my pieces all around as I'm sewing just to make it a little bit easier. And back through the start. Now I like to just push it through to the other end like that. and check if there's any gaps. So for me, I think this could be a little bit of a gap here, so I will actually go through like so, just to make sure that that's secure, and then I will do my little knot as usual, just to make sure that it is extra secure and not going anywhere. Now you want to weave in your ends, just push them all the way through like that, cut off, and there we go. That is ear number 1. Now we're going to do the same like that. Again, I'm just going to hold it and hope that it's symmetrical. So as you can see, my very last sort of aligned this part of the end of the ear up with this row, so it'll be roughly around here. And then pull through that, cut off your yarn tail like so. Okay, now that we have our ears sewn onto our bunny, it's time to embroider the face. So I just use a little piece of the same weighted black yarn, but you can really use whatever black yarn you have. So what I do is I like to start from somewhere that usually the row below. So I'm probably going to put the nose on from here to here. So I actually insert my embroidery needle in. So I'm going to start under here and pop up at the area that I'm going to start my nose. And I'll show you why I do that in a minute. So I'm probably going to go about here. Now you can make your nose as wide or as small as you need to. I'm probably going to go about here, and we'll do it twice just to make it a little bit thicker, although we don't need to. So once, and we'll go through again. And now we're going to make the little part of the little nose, so we're going to actually go down, so directly under, roughly in the middle if you can. With crochet it is kind of hard to get all the stitches to line up. So now we're going to, after we come down, we're going to go, there will be a stitch under here. You just need to push under and then come out in that exact same spot that we first entered with our yarn. And what that's going to do is going to make this little shape here. So you want to go through and pull, and there we go. We've got our cute little nose. Now, with this yarn here, what we're going to do is make sure that the yarn is actually coming out of the exact same stitch and there's not any yarn in between. And the reason is that we're going to tie this now. So we're going to tie a knot. And we're going to cut. And what we're going to do is actually push it in. So you can either push it in with the back of your tapestry needle, like this, or you can put your needle in and kind of swoosh it away, and it's going to grab hold of that thread and kind of pull it in the direction to hide it inside your project. So there we have it, our completed little bunny. Now if you want, you can also do little whiskers on your bunny. That's totally up to you. For me, I'm just leaving it as is. And now on to the next steps. Now to make the eggs, you're going to need a color yarn. I've got purple yarn here. This is acrylic 10 ply, but you can use whichever type of yarn you like. I generally would say use an acrylic or a milk cotton. Otherwise the eggs can get quite heavy, but it's up to you. I've also got a 3mm hook, a stitch marker and scissors, and that's what we need to get started. So first of all, let's do a magic circle. You can also start off with a chain one if that's easier for you. And we are going to do 6 single crochets into the magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as you can see, we have 6. Pull tightly on your yarn tail, and we are going to tie a knot in a minute, so I like to do one more round and then we'll tie a knot. So for the next round, we are going to be going 2 single crochet in every stitch around, so that is an increased stitch in every stitch. So first we are going to put our first single crochet into that stitch. I like to put a stitch marker at this point, just so I know where I'm up to. Now we are going to go back into that same stitch and do another single crochet. So we have 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and we're going to move on to the next single crochet here, or the next stitch here, sorry, and do another 2 single crochets inside that stitch. So now we've done 4 stitches. We're going to go into the next and do another 2 in the same stitch, move on to the next stitch and do another 2 single crochets, and we're going to repeat this pattern around. So there's 2 single crochets in every stitch, 1 and 2, and finally 2 more single crochets in the one stitch. There we go. Now if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So that will be round 2. So round 1 was 6 single crochets, and round 2 is increases all around for a total of 12 stitches. So what I like to do at this point is I just use that yarn tail and I like to tie it off. So I just basically tie a knot. I'm not sure if you can see this. So I'm just basically tying a knot. And what that does is it keeps the magic ring closed, like that. See that? I just tied a knot, now it won't open. Okay, for round 3, we are going to place a single crochet in every stitch around, so that will be 12 single crochets. So do our first single crochet, put our stitch marker in. So I always put a stitch marker in the first stitch of my round, but you can do it however you like, or you don't need to use one at all if you are great at concentrating, unlike me. So stitch 1, stitch 2, now single crochet the next, single crochet in the next, and keep going around. Until you have 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So that concludes round 3. Now round 4, we will be doing 1 single crochet followed by an increase. So let's do our first stitch, which is a single crochet. Put our stitch marker in to mark the start of our round. So the next stitch is going to have an increase. So that's 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. So that's 1 single crochet, go back in again, and a second single crochet. So the next stitch is going to be a single crochet. So we are going to do a single crochet followed by an increase. So this is going to be 1, back in the same stitch for 2. So we're going to be continuing this pattern around. So 1 single crochet, and then an increase, 1 single crochet, the next stitch is an increase. One single crochet and an increase. And finally, one single crochet and an increase. So there we go. We now have round 4 completed, and next we are going to be doing, so take out a stitch mark. The next round we're going to be doing 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So 1, add our stitch marker back in, 2, and now the next stitch is going to be an increase. So 2 single crochet in the same stitch. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that makes 4 stitches. So let's continue that. So we have 1 single crochet, in the next stitch we're doing another single crochet, and in the third stitch we are going to be doing an increase. So 2 single crochet in the same stitch. And follow around, 1, 2, and an increase. 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 Oops. Increase. So there we go. Right now this is the shape. As you can see, it's starting to form that little egg shape we love. So now what we are going to do is we are going to do 3 rounds of single crochet, which means we are going to go around 3 times just doing single crochet. So let's get started. Okay, so when you have finished your 24 stitches, that is 24 individual single crochets, so 1 in each stitch around, we need to do that another 2 more times. So let's speed this up. Okay, let's go for 1 more round of 24 stitches. Okay, now that we have finished doing our rounds of single crochet, we now need to start decreasing. So we need to make this egg smaller. So we are going to be reversing our pattern, and we are going to be doing 2 single crochet and a decrease. So we're starting off with 2 single crochet, so 1 single crochet in 1 stitch, and then another single crochet in the next stitch, Now we're going to do decrease. Now I like to do an invisible decrease, but you can do decrease however you want. I know there's lots of different ways. So what I do is I go in the front loops like this, and then I also go in this front loop here as well. And then I wrap my yarn around, pull through like this, and now I just yarn over, and that's my invisible decrease. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see, which is nice. So again, one single crochet in the next stitch, another single crochet in the next stitch, and now we're going to decrease however you'd like. So mine are in the front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, just like that. So let's continue that pattern all the way around. One single crochet, two single crochet, and a decrease through the next two. One single crochet, and a decrease through the next two. I find that using this decrease method when you're using an acrylic yarn can be really helpful, because sometimes acrylic yarn really shows up the gaps between the stitches, but it really depends on what you want to do. Two, and now I need to decrease in these last two stitches here, just like that. So there we go, we've completed our first round of decrease, and now we need to do the next round of decrease, which is going to be one single crochet and a decrease, and followed by a decrease stitch. So let's keep going, so one single crochet, and then our decrease, one single crochet, and our decrease, and one single crochet and a decrease, one single crochet, oops, decrease, one single crochet, decrease, and last, one single crochet and decrease through the next two stitches. So there we go. Now we have complete our second round of decreasing. At this point I would recommend stuffing, so let's do that now. Okay, so let's start stuffing. So you want to put enough stuffing in that it holds its shape well. I will say, however, the more stuffing you pack in, it can be harder for you to push through these wires, but it really depends. If you're using floristry wire like I am, it's not so difficult, but if you're using something like a thicker stick of some sort, just be mindful that you may need to do a little bit of wiggling to sort of force it through your stuffing. So when you're happy with the shape, we will move on. So the next round is going to be decrease all around. So we're going to be doing a decrease for every stitch. So there'll be no more single crochets, it will only be decreases. So this is where I believe the invisible decrease really shines. It just makes everything nice and tight. So that was one decrease. Now we're going to go in and do the next decrease like so, and we are just going to continue this all the way around. Yes. And our last decrease. There we go. Now what I like to do is pull the yarn and cut. Give yourself a little bit of a tail to work with. Pull it through. Take out your stitch marker because we don't need this anymore. Now, if you need to put a little bit of extra stuffing at this point, you absolutely can, and I will. And I'm just going to use the end of my crochet hook to just push it in, because the hole is pretty small, but I do need to get a little bit more stuffing in. So just ram it in, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, totally up to you how much you want to put in. This could be overkill at this point, but we're going to just go with it. All right, so what I like to do now is get my tapestry needle. So the way that I like to finish off and close up is I like to get my tapestry needle in through the front loop. You can see that, the front loop only, like so. Now I like to come through and go into the front loop of this one, and just alternating front loop from this direction. Now we're going to come back through this direction. Hopefully this makes sense. I have no idea how to explain this. Alternating how we go in through the front loop like this to get back to the start, and then all you have to do is just pull it. Watch the magic. Closed. I also do this on chenille yarn, but be careful, it can sometimes snap. So what I do to finish off, I just like to go randomly through some stitches. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you leave yourself a little gap in the middle, this is going to make it, not a gap, but if you leave a center stitch, it's going to make it easier when you have to put the wire through. But you don't need to worry about that now if this is a bit confusing. Just keep going, do what you want to do. So I always do a knot to close off no matter what I'm doing. So I like to just do a little sneaky knot. No one's going to see it. I do it for every single crochet item I make because I don't want it to come off. So chop it off, squeeze so the tail end goes through, and there you have it, a super cute little egg. Now you can get creative and you can change yarn halfway through. You can go in with your tapestry needle and you can go and embroider like little shapes. Do whatever you want to do to make this, uniquely yours. Make your little patterns on it. You can just make little whatever, really. It could be super cute. So do what you need to do. We need to make 5 of these. So when you have made 5 of these, come back and we will assemble this guy.
Okay, let's crack on with the assembly part of this bouquet. So right now I am measuring the bunny head on the wire, and I'm deciding how long I want the wire to be and just cutting off the excess with my wire cutters. And with the excess, I'm actually just determining how long I want the little branches to be that will hold each of the eggs. So you're going to need 5 additional pieces of wire to go through and hold those eggs, I guess attach the eggs to the stem. So I'm using the same thickness wire as I am for like the main stem. So continue to cut 5 pieces of the wire. You can cut them all different sizes as well. That will make it a little bit more interesting. So you can have some long ones and some short ones, but it really depends on what kind of look you're going for. I've cut a few different lengths, so I've just kind of gone in and just cut a little bit, some long ones and some short ones. Okay, so we are going to start with assembling the little mini branches that the eggs will be attached to. So what we want to do first is put a little bit of hot glue onto the end of your stick, and we are going to wrap green yarn around. And the reason we do this is because it just makes the wire, I guess it covers the wire and makes it look a little bit nicer. Now you can use whichever color yarn you want. I use green just because I want it to be like a little bouquet, like it's a little bunny flower type thing, but it really depends on what your color palette is. I figured with green it might also work if I put it in with other flowers, other crochet flowers. So when you get to the bottom, just chop it off and put a little bit of hot glue just to hold it there. It does not have to be perfect. You don't have to make the ends perfect because they will actually, one side of the wire will be inside the Easter egg and the other side is going to be on the stem of the main stem, so you're not going to be able to see either end. Just make sure that the middle of each of your little branches are nice and neat, because that will be seen, but the ends won't be, so you don't need to worry too much about making them all nice and polished. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. So feel free to pause the video while you make these little branches, and then we will go on to the next step.
Okay, so now that we have wrapped our stems, what we're going to do is we're going to push the stem inside. So find a spot as close to the middle as possible and push it in. Check to make sure that it balances okay. What we're going to do is, I might get it a bit closer to the middle. So I'll put it in the middle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out slightly, and then I'm going to get some glue, and I am going to apply a little bit of glue like that. Twist and push in. Now as you push in, it's going to secure the little stem to the egg like this. Hold it for a moment. Okay, so once you have glued this in, it should look like this, and it should be quite stable. See, it's not flopping around. That means you pushed it a good way in. So you want to make sure that they go probably about up to here, like that, or as far as they'll go without pushing through. That way they won't be flopping on the stick. So basically we're going to have them like this. Okay, so continue with the rest of them. So I'm going to push it in as close to the center as possible. You might have to sort of move the stuffing around to kind of make it fit. Check it, make sure it's okay. And then remove the stem a little bit. And then we're going to glue and then push back down. So glue and then push back down. And that's going to secure it. Okay, and there's another one. Your next one. Again. Push through. Take out a little bit. Push back in and make sure that it's all secure. Okay. Depending on how much you stuff your eggs, it might be harder to stick this through. So just keep that in mind. You might need to wiggle it a little bit. I've used so some of my eggs are slightly different sizes, you can see, because I've used yarn under, yarn over for some, yarn over for others. It's the same yarn. There is slightly different variations in my yarn, but it is the same pattern. It's just the way that I've done the stitches. So some of them have come out a little bit small just as I was testing them. But this can create a visual interest. So if you want to create different sized eggs, feel free to. Also, if you want to create different patterns, you can as well. You can do a color change halfway through, or you can just put like an embroidered pattern. Up to you what you want to do. Be creative. Okay, so we have our 5 finished eggs. Now we need to assemble, so make sure you do this part before you move on to the next part, otherwise you're going to run into some problems. This is our completed bunny, so obviously the bunny goes on the very top, and we're going to basically do what we just did, but we're not going to be able to wrap this all the way through, as we're going to be needing to attach the others. So start off the same way. So we're going to start to wrap. Now this part is going to go inside of the bunny's head, so roughly around there, and we will do that one last. So we're going to put this on last. So what we want to do is to decide where we want our eggs to start protruding from our stem, kind of like leaves. So for me, that's like that. I might want the first egg to be about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of glue, pop it just here, like so, and we're going to put our first stem. So all we're going to do is press the stem up against like this. Feel free to bend it. I mean, this is why it's good to have wire, because it does bend, and you can always then fix it up later. So like so, and I've used a really thick wire for these individual ones as well. Usually when I'm doing my flowers, I'll use a thinner wire, but I have used a thick one because I know that this can get a little bit heavy. So because it can get a bit heavy, I thought I would just use a thicker wire, but it really depends on whatever you've got available. It's fine. Just do what you have, just use what you have at home. No pressure to rush out and buy anything extra. Okay, so I'm going to put another one here. Now be creative as you need to be. You can put more or less. I thought I'd make 5 just to make a slightly more full looking bouquet. You can have this as a standalone bouquet, or you can add it to an existing bouquet for like an Easter theme. So just keep wrapping those eggs as you go. Okay, so we're going to add another one here. Oops, it's being a little bit difficult. Okay, we're going to add another one here. My glue gun is a little bit uncooperative at the best of times, so the tighter you wrap here, the tighter it will pull those stems together. I know my egg's getting squished here right now, but it's fine. Just keep going. We can fix them later on. And finally, the last one to go on. Okay, work your way to the bottom. I would generally use the tip of the hot glue gun just to smooth and glue that down, like so. Now you have your little Easter egg bunches, and you can start to pull them away gently, like so. Like that. So now you have a very cute little bunch of Easter eggs. However, that's not what we're here for. We are here to put a bunny on top, so let's do that right now. So what we're going to do is make sure that's not tacky, otherwise it'll get stuck. We're going to try and center it as much as we can. Making sure you push that stick as far through as you can so that it's stable. You do not want a wobbly bunny. And then, like before, we're going to bring it out a little bit and pop some glue. And quickly push it back in. Like that. And get all those little glue flyaways. Super cute little bunny Easter egg bouquet. You can just have it like this in a vase, or you can actually put it in with additional flowers for like a little bouquet. So you do what you want to do with this. It's a very versatile decoration, but super cute. Feel free to get super creative as well with your eggs. Alright guys, that is it for another video. Let me know what you think. If you have made your Easter Bunny bouquet, please let me know how it turned out. Feel free to also tag me in any Instagram posts that you make with these Easter Bunny bouquets, as I would love to see them. Just tag me at The Cotton Florist and I will be sure to check them out. I would love to see what everyone's been able to make and what designs you've made for your Easter eggs. So that's it for another video. Let me know if you'd like me to make anything else, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.